Welcome back to Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Tuesday, April 2nd, 2019. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. Now that we're really starting to get into the heart of March Madness, you start to see how important matchups are when you've got elite teams going head-to-head. And that got me thinking about where William Bonac fits into this whole mix in bodybuilding now. I mean, with titles at the Arnold and Arnold Australia in back-to-back years, he's shown that he's hitting his peak at the right time in his career. And that peak is right up there with anyone that we've ever seen over the last decade or so. Not to mention the fact that we have a new Mr. Olympia champion, and there's a precedent for one-time champs having trouble defending their titles. So Bonac's at a pivotal point in his career, and in some ways what happens with him over the next 7 months could go a long way towards dictating the future of the sport. Sometimes if you want uncommon results, then you have to get yourself prepared to do uncommon things. And trust me, when you've got uncommon talent like Rafa Brandao does, doing uncommon things comes pretty easy. Since he set the world on fire with his performance at the Arnold last month, Rafa's been on an absolute tear in the gym. And we saw evidence of that a few days ago when he posted a video knocking out a set of sumo deadlifts for reps. To me, guys like Rafa are the future of bodybuilding because they check all the boxes you want as a fan. They're big, they have small waists, they're aesthetic, and most of all, they're cool. They do social media as well as anyone, and whether you want to believe it or not, being a brand is just as important as being an athlete as we move into this next generation of the sport. Unfortunately, when you're an athlete, injuries are just a part of the game that we all have to deal with at some point. But the way you bounce back from your injuries goes a long way towards how other people define your career when it's all said and done. And something tells me that classic physique standout Tino Harris is ready to bounce back in a major way. After being sidelined with injuries for the entire 2018 season, rumor has it that Harris and his team are officially back in prep mode. Even though it's only been one season, it feels like a lot has changed in the division over that time. But if he comes back more complete and ready to take on all comers, he's someone who could be a tough out at the right venue. When I watched the coverage of the NFL Combine a few weeks ago, there were guys who just looked like first-round draft picks based on the way their bodies were built. And if there was ever a guy in bodybuilding who looked the part of a first-round draft pick, it would definitely be Juan Morel, because this guy is built for war. Over the weekend, Juan and his team released a handful of new updates from their first prep of the season to give his fans a sample of what he's bringing to the party. Based on everything I've seen, Juan looks like he's already in rare form, and I wouldn't put it past him to have one of those vintage Juan Morel performances that could really set the tone for the entire year. Lately, I've been starting to think we're in a new renaissance period for bodybuilding, with all the new talent that we have in so many of our divisions. And last weekend, some of that new talent was on display at the Indy Pro and former amateur Olympia champ Dwayne Walker. Today, Team Walker decided to release a clip from one of their latest pre-show workouts where we see the big guy putting some of the finishing touches on his first pro look. At this stage of his career, Walker is a guy who has a ton of potential to develop into something special. So it'll be fun to see where he goes over the next few months as he starts to learn how things work at the pro level. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions and have a great April Fool's Day. Make sure to follow us also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.